Alright, so try two. Clyde made a video on Dangai Ichigo being way stronger than you remember, so let's see how that goes. On Discord, obviously. So let's see.
This video was brought to you by The Ridge. Watch until the very end to find
1.25
out more.
speed, of course.
When people ask me what my favorite variant of Ichigo is, it always comes down to Fullbring Bankai Ichigo, and Ichigo when he steps out of the hyperbolic time chamber, better known as Dangai Ichigo. From the new hair design to the improved physique and his chain-covered arm that has become fused with his Zanpakuto toe. The training and things needed to reach this level of power too are also very particular to Ichigo only, which also adds more mystery to the form itself and its true level of power. This form has always just felt so different, strong, and cool as f***. It almost feels like it's from a different manga due to how different Ichigo feels to his allies. He truly
Yikes. Heck no. Not a different manga at all.
feels like he's in a different echelon
Don't disrespect the rest of Bleach like that. What? No.
of power to the captains. He has a certain presence that just feels really powerful. It's honestly a great example of the butterfly effect, especially in Bleach, because these minute changes have led to such a drastic change in power. The sensitive dependence on initial conditions in which a small change in one state of deterministic nonlinear system can result in large differences in a later state, i.e. Dangai Ichigo. Born with an extremely strong prototype hollow inside of him, which would easily be classed as a vasto lorde and beyond in power by the Soul Society, his very own mother, a purebred Quincy, and extremely strong at an early age, with a father from a royal household that also has insanely strong spiritual pressure for a Shinigami. As Ichigo gets older, he meets Rukia Kuchi, a 100-plus-year-old Shinigami, which leads to him having his powers activated, and this only happened due to her willingness to break the law and not allow Ichigo to die like Kai and Shiba did. Also, Aizen low-key was involved with that. Ichigo then gets trained by one of the most intelligent characters in the story. Then he gets trained by his Quincy and Hollow Asuchi passively in battle, who is also a physical manifestation of Yuha Bark. Has a short rivalry with Renji Abarai. Then gets trained by one of the fastest...
Not a short rivalry with Renji. They're rivals throughout the entire series. Literally stated by Unohana. Don't disrespect Renji like that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Does that mean Kenpachi and Renji can eventually reach Ichigo's current level?
Yeah, obviously. They're his rivals.
No, I meant
Everybody
surpass them, I mean.
Obviously, they surpass each other at different points in the stories.
Oh. I thought Ichigo was just at a plateau that would make him have too much of a lead for them to surpass.
No.
Story has another short rivalry with a royal-blooded, highly skilled captain that helps motivate and develop his powers in both training and battle. Later gets trained by ex-Shinigami captains and
No Kenpachi, bro.
lieutenants.
Literally just not mentioning his other rival. What's going on here?
Who have hollow powers
as well as Toshio, like the low-key rival.
Just like he does. Has a longer rivalry involving multiple battles with two monstrously powerful Espada that develop his abilities even more with each encounter. Is being groomed by the two most powerful villains to achieve higher levels of power since he was born. After every near-death fight in the Soul Society arc and the Oiko invasion, he returns even stronger than before, and he even got hyped up by the previous Kenpachi. To go back to his father, well, he is a high-level captain from a royal bloodline who teaches Ichigo a technique that trains and combines his powers with the two other beings inside of him into a pool of insanely high spiritual pressure. And with a special place to train, which only appeared due to Aizen destroying the cleaner while testing out his new alien-esque powers, Ishin holds open this area known as the Dangai for 3 straight months so Ichigo can achieve this higher level of power, their only chance to defeat Aizen. All of these specific, domino-like interactions and lucky access to unique training, plus being born with 2 extremely strong beings inside of him, royal blood from his mother and father, well, this makes his Dangai form not only incredibly strong, but a ridiculously peculiar combination that only Ichigo was able to reach, unlike all other Shinigami shown thus far. While Aizen has gone through a rather similar evolution of power unique to only his situation, the Ichigo we see before us has undergone a transformation in both body and mind that casually surpasses this. To put it into perspective, it's wild to think that the narrative of the story is hyping up the full hollow transformation of Ichigo to be a challenge to this form of Aizen here.
Well, it's not.
And arguably this form here with certain chains of argument.
No.
An interesting thing that I noticed while rereading Ukiura vs Ichigo was that the only thing that the people below the canopy of Lost Noches can actually sense is Ukiura, up until the very moment that he passes. The thing that the people...
I was gonna go help him after I killed these guys. What do you mean? Yami literally sensed them. What are you talking about? What?
Oh my god, I'm just realizing the guest used it mean Ukiura's second fusion Aizen level. They're clearly relative in their fight.
Yeah, and it's like the heavy spiritual pressure that was above the canopy is gone. Like, yeah, like one of Ukiura just died. Full Hollow Ichigo is like, does he not remember what caused this hole right here? Like,
Yeah.
what? What?
Evil below the canopy of Lost Noches can actually sense is Ukiura, up until the very moment that he passes. However, throughout the entire battle with the Vaso Lord Ichigo, the only time they notice him up there is when Acero breaks through the canopy of Lost Noches. It would seem pretty consistent to state that White right here could actually have transcendent levels of power, because once Ichigo is healed and he is only in Bankai and Holification, he is then able to sense Aizen's transcendent spiritual pressure. Dangai Ichigo, on the other hand, is so powerful that according to Aizen, in his last evolution with the Hogyoku, which is 3 levels stronger than his forms that surpassed all Shinigami in his own words, well, Aizen says verbatim that he cannot sense Dangai Ichigo throughout their entire battle, and the only reason he inflicted any significant damage to Dangai Ichigo was because of Ichigo's mental state at that time, which led to Ichigo playing with him and mocking him all the way up until the release of Mugetsu.
No, Aizen was just that strong, and this is what also shows that you're not reading the series, because that's pretty blatantly obvious. As well as the fact that it's stated in the novel by Kisuke that Ichigo was forced to use Mugetsu. So no, just incorrect.
Didn't even defend himself from the Fragor attack from Aizen, which is also directly proven by the fact that he can then casually do this. It also makes zero sense for the Vaso Lorde form to be anywhere near Dangai Ichigo's level, as Dangai Ichigo is the fusion dance between Zangetsu, White, and Ichigo, plus it also has training stacked on top of it and no restrictions, hence why it took so long for Ichigo to be able to communicate with his Zanpakuto again after the Mugetsu was fired. He used up all of his power with that final swing. The Dangai form itself is his Bankai state going through rigorous training for 3 straight months, becoming Transcendent, one with his sword, and having access to all of White and Zangetsu's power. To get technical here...
Oh, it is not access to all of his powers. Like, hold up. Should be in the server. Do I still have that chat? Oh, let's see if I still have that chat. True Shikai above Mugetsu, yeah. Ichigo, what you've been using is merely a fragment of your power that I cannot contain. You can now fight with your own power. What he's been using is only a fragment, dude. Like, and then it shows these. Like, Zangetsu says what you've been using is a fragment, and then it literally shows Mugetsu. Like, the next page, basically, or like in 2 pages. Like,
Ichigo to be able to communicate with his Zanpakuto again after the Mugetsu with rigorous training power. To get technical here, it isn't even technically a new form. It's just his Bankai with special training, and the Mugetsu is the new form. The statement that Zangetsu later makes about Ichigo not being restricted here doesn't seem to apply to Dangai Ichigo.
It literally shows, you literally show the picture, dog, of Dangai Ichigo when he's referring to it. Like, do you think the narrative is just excluding the fact that, okay, so he says, I won't ask you for help anymore. I won't tell you to stay out of my way either, nor will I ask you guys to fight with me. I will fight on my own. And then being like, so it's saying that, like, this form included the power that he's used, Ichigo's not going to do that anymore. Like, his journey up till now, he's not going to do that anymore. Like, obviously, that's part of its narrative.
He's accepting his powers as what they were and getting his true potential.
Like, Mugetsu is not the same as true Shikai Ichigo. He did not get the level of development that true Shikai Ichigo got as Mugetsu. That is a stepping stone to his narrative as it evolves. So terrible.
Also to Ichigo in battles like these. To put it into the most direct, blunt way to show you how strong Dangai Ichigo is, well, Shunsui here on the screen isn't any different to when he fights here.
Dude, that is over 2 years later of training. No, he is not the same.
Well, yeah, he's weaker, since training makes you weaker in Bleach, according to the logic here. And
apparently,
why would you be stronger in the war arc unless she was mentally nerfing herself in the Arrancar arc? Why didn't she fight 5th Fusion Aizen?
I'm like,
could be argued to actually be nerfed upon the release of his Bankai due to having a missing eye from his battle with Robert.
Nig.
What? Oh my
Nig.
god.
Even when
This
releasing
video
his
is
Bankai against the
painful.
X-axis, he does this after taking so much damage that he is on the verge of dying, but we already know Dangai Ichigo is far above Shunsui and this form of Aizen here, who surpassed all Shinigami and couldn't be sensed by Ishin, Urahara, or Yoruichi. To go even further with the logic behind...
You want to know something? You know what? You know what? How about this, buddy? How about in Hellverse? You know what, bro? Hold up. Do I have the... Hold up. I'll put the statement up. It's going to be in verses in a second. Just give me a
behind this
second.
argumentation, I would like to assume that any sane person would not say that Aizen here is weaker than this Yamamoto here. This is also backed up by the fact that person would not say that Aizen here is weaker than this Yamamoto here. This is also backed up by the fact that Yuha does not believe that this Yamamoto here is stronger than this Yamamoto here, and he goes so far to say that, hey, if you did in fact get healed, I would have considered you a war potential.
Yikes. This
Wait,
man
you just
literally
said
has
that.
zero narrative analysis. The anime made it even more obvious. This man Clyde is garbage, bro. Oh my god, bro. Bro, hold up. You know what? We're gonna... You know what, bro? I'm about to pull it up, bro. Hold up. Yama dies. Bro, I need a fuller scene, dude. Freak. I need the scene. Freak, dude. This is just gonna be Yama backstory. Nah. Oh wait. Let me add Bleach. Come on, bro. Please.
Actually,
We can
in the
go.
anime, I never. I've seen the English dub when Yama was fighting the fake Yuha, and I never heard in that fight them stating like Yama would have been stronger if he kept his arm. Or is that the second episode after the Yama versus fake Yuha fight?
Hold up. Dude, I hate it because it's after this scene that it's like, hold up. You know what, bro? We go into Bleach episode 7, bro. You know what, bro? Y'all are along for the ride, bro. You know what? Y'all are along for the ride. We are pulling up on...
Careful of copyright noons.
Yeah, bro. I know.
Let's making sure since that can be a real bitch to deal with.
Yeah. We finna just show the frames, bro. We just finna show the frames. We're not finna let it play. Don't worry. Come on, bro. Give us some Bleach. Oh, it's on GoGo Anime, yo. That's Pog, yo. Bleach is on GoGo Anime. Pog is free. Okay. So beautiful, dude. Okay, I know all about it. You were apprehensive about getting Ichigo Hirosaki involved, and even now you stood before me trying to carry the burden of the Soul Society and the world of the living on your shoulders. And you lost. You've grown weak. Yamamoto, the original 13 Court Guard squads that you founded, they were a group of savage killers. But because of that, they were a fearsome bunch. So because of the fact that they were savage killers is why they were fearsome, which is why Yamamoto got weak. So let's read on. You were truly a beast with the sword. How so? He was a savage killer, and because of that, he was a fearsome beast. The lives of the people, including your own subordinates... Hold up. Freak. Hold up, bro. Bro. Weighed only as much as ash to you. But that all changed after you exterminated the Quincy. So what changed? His mindset. The fact that his men weighed only as much to ash to you. But that all changed after you exterminated us Quincy's. So let's see what changed. Upon gaining a peaceful world, we see Yamamoto out here teaching. Yama out here teaching. So upon gaining a peaceful world, you people had more things you protected and to love to satisfy your pathetic sense of justice and pride. So what is the change? So he is no longer a savage killer who slayed everything and used everything and anything to slay an enemy, whose men only weighed as much to ash as you. That changed. What now happens is this man has things to protect for justice and pride. You died without realizing this, so I'm going to tell you. The Soul Society is about to perish, but the 13 Court Guard squads died with us 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, they died. In what way? No longer savage killers, because they have what? What they have? Justice and pride. I don't know how this is, like, the anime made it so obvious, dog. Like, sir.
Here, and he goes so far to say that, hey, if you did in fact get healed, I would have considered you a war potential.
So the reason why, if he got healed, he would be a war potential is not because of strength, it is because of character. His character would be different because he would have used everything he could to defeat them. The mindset is different.
This would also make sense why the manga tries to imply Ichigo is regaining the powers he had against Aizen, but even then, that's debatable and weirdly translated. I had no...
Yikes! So he thinks it's debatable that true Shikai Ichigo and Goryuha are above Mugetsu. Bleach fans, this is the person that you think is the guy? This is the guy that you think speaks facts? He thinks it's debatable that Mugetsu is weaker than true Shikai Ichigo. True Bankai Ichigo. True Bankai Ichigo, Horn of Salvation. And Almighty Soul King absorbed. Mimi Hagi absorbed. Gerard absorbed. Hashwalt absorbed. The Quincy Powers absorbed. Yamamoto absorbed. Unohana absorbed. All of them. He thinks that it's debatable Mugetsu is stronger than him. So let's see what he's talking about. For what is implying that he's getting it's his Mugetsu powers, right?
The powers he had against Aizen, but even then, that's debatable.
No. So he says, I can almost see your overflowing spiritual pressure take form. You've grown strong. No. That is the power you are supposed to have. So, why do you think this is talking?
Sorry.
7 minutes. This man Yang is like 30 minutes late. Fuck this nigga. Regardless, like what I was saying. No, I am in the middle of something. Shut the fuck up. All right. So what does this imply right here? That this is the power that you're supposed to have. Why does that imply Mugetsu? What headcanon is this? What implies Mugetsu here? Sir, where is the reference? Sir.
That statement just means, you're supposed to be this strong. Like, well, the fuck you mean, Mugetsu? The fuck you on, Clyde?
Well, want to know what's worse, gang? He thinks it's debatable that Ichigo got, that is, he thinks it's debatable that true Shikai Ichigo is stronger than Mugetsu.
What?
He thinks it's debatable that true Shikai Ichigo is stronger. He thinks he might be weaker.
His inner Quincy was holding it back the entire fucking series.
No. Want to know what's... Hold on. Want to know what his justification is, buddy? That apparently, like, when they're talking about him getting his powers, like it not being suppressed, that it's not talking about Mugetsu. Even though it shows it, like, 2 pages afterwards. Hold on. Where is it?
And interestingly, Sensor, the white head at that time from the getting to Enzong features, hence why all of his power with for Ichigo to be able to communicate with his Zanpakuto again after the Mugetsu was fired. He used up all of his power with that final swing. The Dangai form itself is his Bankai state going through Mugetsu's power. To get technical here, It isn't even technically a new form. It's just his Ichigo not being restricted here.
Okay, there it
and
is.
the Mugetsu is the new form. The statement that Zangetsu later makes about Ichigo not being restricted here doesn't seem to apply to Dangai Ichigo, but more so to Ichigo in battles like these.
Even though it shows this. Let's hear that again.
About Ichigo not being restricted here doesn't seem to apply to Dangai Ichigo, but more so to Ichigo in battles like these.
He shows this scan before.
What?
It literally shows it.
Continue.
Also,
Oh, he
is
also
this required
thinks
for a video or no?
it is for a video.
Okay, just wanted to be clear on that. Sorry again for being late. It's just I was in a speed run and I couldn't really stop in the middle of it. So
Understandable, homie. Understandable. But let's hear this as well, Yang.
Screen isn't any different to when he directs a blunt way to show you how strong Dangai Ichigo is. Well, Shunsui here on the screen isn't any different to when he fights here. It could be argued to actually be nerfed upon the release of his Bankai due to having a missing eye from his battle with Robert.
what?
Yeah.
Yep.
What does he think Shutsui's a new Uchiha or something?
He does this
I
after
don't know,
taking so
dog.
much damage that he
But
You'll get nerfed by losing an eye, but it wouldn't. What the fuck is he saying?
Yeah, it is Clyde, dude. This is.
Then that's debatable and weirdly translated.
Oh no, Shutsui is 0.1% weaker because the Ryatsu from that eye is no longer there.
That's debatable and
I don't trust Viz enough. Then why don't you translate it yourself and see that it says the same thing? What?
weirdly translated.
You know that I can translate it. Just there are workarounds, Clyde.
Especially since he uses translations. Like, oh, why don't you just get it translated and use that translation? Really now. If you don't trust Viz, why don't you make a new show the translation now? Show the translation you trust.
Also, anytime from now on, anytime he shows a scan from Viz, we can give him shit about that because of that statement.
Yep. Hold up. Hey, man. I don't know about these Viz statements, bro. Look at this. I don't know, bro. I don't know about these Viz statements, bro. I don't know if Dangai Ichigo that strong. I don't know if Mugetsu that strong, Booker. You know?
Dude, I think
what else have I missed while not being here?
You missed that Yama got weaker, and that Yuha said that Yama got weaker. Even though the anime literally shows it, quite literally, that what he's talking about is him not being a savage killer that's men weigh only as much as Ash, and now he has things to protect and love and a sense of justice and pride. Apparently that means that he is physically weaker.
Like what? Like he even makes a point about what I have 5 war potentials. Why do you think you're not one of them? It's not because you're weak. It's because you're not that brutal monster that would kill your own men just to get a single attack in. Because, like, if you think that war potential equals power, then that means you think that Yama is weaker than Kisuke. And, like, not to downplay Kisuke here, but that's a hard sell. You know what I mean?
Dude. Well, did Yama ever fight an elite Stern Ritter? Like, Askin or Anita?
True. He did. He used his Bankai against a non-elite. He's weak. He's really weak.
On
Okay.
a serious note, like, literally, he read the novels, he would know Yama's stronger than all the captains in the novels post-war, when he post-Zero Squad training.
Similar evolution of power unique to that Kagman. Snowchairs can actually situate and holific.
Bro, there was one thing he had said that
in his last evolution with the Hogyoku, which is 3 levels.
Okay. So he had said something, I forgot what it was, but I was getting like a translation. But let's look at it in verses. The translation is in verses for the homies on the Discord. So let's read this out. This is from the Bleach Hellverse novel, which takes place shortly after Hero Card. So let's read this out. Ichigo and his comrades were blocked by these 3 sinners, casting off their self-imposed dark mantle, they displayed a power unparalleled within the town of Karakura. Okay, so what does this mean? Who do we know was in the town of Karakura town? Who lives there? Or who has stepped foot there? Well, if
Aizen,
we
Yama, Ichigo.
if we remember right, I'm pretty sure this right here is Karakura town. Okay. So we have Dangai Ichigo in Karakura town, and we have third Fusion Aizen in Karakura town, or fourth Fusion Aizen in Karakura town. My bad. Okay. Okay. So these sinners are stronger than him. Okay, interesting. But let's say like you don't believe that, right? Let's lowball, right? That means that the sinners are stronger than people such as Ishin, such as Yorichi, such as Kisuke, such as the Fullbringers, such as Ginjo and Tsukishima, who Tsukishima literally we saw in the past. He's the one that defeated Aizen. Like he's the reason that they won. So that means he beat up like 4th, 5th, 6th Fusion Aizen. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dog. Like, the sinners are stronger than that. They box Hellverse Bankai Ichigo. And guess what happens? Guess who fight? You know what, bro?
Even
I'll bring up Hellverse. Whoa. Let's get the scans. I have the scans for you, sirs.
I have a question for you, Noons. Does that mean like Bullbring Bankai Ichigo's weaker than like Hell Armor?
Oh.
No?
No. I'll explain it in a second. But let's look at our boy Ichigo, right? So I'm really scared to freaking play this, bro. But you know what? Look. You see Ichigo he's having some trouble.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at Ichigo. Look at him. Bro, look at him. Look how he's getting done by these sinners.
Like he's evenly matched with
Weave.
them, not weakened.
Look, weave. Stupid. Look.
Reminder, that sinner has the cloak on, which is nerfing him.
Yep. Yeah. Look how he did Ichigo. Oh, dog. Look how he did Ichigo, dog. Oh my god. Oh my god. And then Ichigo gets done in by these guys as well. Like, come on, bro.
Okay, stop right there.
We're not trying to get copied.
Dangerous enough. Movie footage is omega level dangerous.
Movie footage crazy, bro. You like mess around, bro. Y'all might not even be able to see that. So just to say this, look up Bleach Hellverse and go to around like the 14-minute mark, dog. Around the 14-minute mark. And go up to like the 20-minute mark, bro. You will see Ichigo getting dogged. You will see Ichigo getting pieced up by them sinners.
Even if we took out like even if you were to just like manga only and only canon anime arcs, crazy how Dangai Ichigo is just an Ichigo that had 3 months of training. He could only sense God Aizen while mentally nerfed. Imagine what 3 months of fighting Zangetsu plus removing the nerf would do. Crazy how it's that simple, you know what I mean?
Nerfed in Dangai.
You just talking about the mental nerf, not like the nerf from Zangetsu.
I'm talking about Ichigo being in a bad mental space in that general time period. It's like, his mental world was flooded because it rained that much, you know?
No, he's still mentally nerfed in Dangai.
What?
Yeah, he is.
Like, no, he's not at the end.
No, he's not.
At the end, he's not mentally nerfed. When he gets the power of Zangetsu and he accepts Zangetsu and like the water, like the water goes away.
Oh, I don't. No, I misremember.
So like when Game takes one look at Ichigo, he's even thinking like, "Oh, those eyes. Yeah, you're in a much better space now."
His eyes were
So, like,
strong,
by the
but
time
yeah,
he's
he had
fighting,
to resolve himself.
by the time he's fighting Aizen, that mental nerf isn't there anymore.
That's when the reason why you think that he didn't is because you're forgetting that once Ichigo gets stabbed by the sword, and like he knows perfectly well what's going on, and then he learns Mugetsu, like the final scene, uh it goes away. Like the final scene, like it fades and it goes to Mugetsu, like Ichigo using Mugetsu. Like the final scene where like right before we see Mugetsu. That's when like it goes away and once he gets Mugetsu.
Wait, does that mean he's like still mentally fighting his Sanpakuto while fighting Aizen?
That is what?
Is he still fighting his
What?
Sanpakuto while fighting Aizen?
No, that was the flashback to when he was in the Dangai.
Okay, never mind. I need to
I've
rewatch
covered
Bleach.
this stuff
Yeah,
so many
like-
times in previous videos, but I'm always shocked at how many people find it so hard to follow basic storytelling in relation
Yeah.
Oh yeah, really. So hard to follow basic storytelling. I think that White broke destroyed the limiter from Ichigo's Shinigami badge, which is why Ichigo could sense Aizen even though he was weaker than Ishin. Yeah. Imagine saying that, but having that fucking take like a month ago.
I'm like, oh boy.
to Dangai Ichigo versus the hollow transformation scene in the Ukiura fight.
Ayo, bro, you showed it. That's a scan from Hellverse, sir. That's a scan. That is Hellverse, sir. That is Hellverse, sir. This full hollow Ichigo right here would piece up Mugetsu. He would get obliterated. Stop it immediately. No. Sir.
Transformation scene in the Ukiura fight. This one here is the full hollow transformation with half of his Shinigami powers. This one over here is Ichigo.
If you mean the full hollow Ichigo that fights Ukiura, yeah, that man gets obliterated.
His Shinigami
The way you're getting to these things and the way you're articulating yourself, horrible though.
powers,
Horrible.
Quincy powers, and that full hollow all in one form. Plus, they trained for 3 months straight. Cool does not always equal power, or Levi from Attack on Titan would be slapping everybody's ass in anime. When Ichigo arrives,
Did you just hear that?
What?
He just admitted that Ichigo was training with Zangetsu for 3 months there.
Yep.
He like if Ichigo is if this is just training and Ichigo regained his powers, with Fullbring and all that, how is Dangai a special uber god power here? Exactly. You get my point, right?
Yeah.
Like just
He thinks that Mugetsu is all of Ichigo's power, and that Dangai Ichigo, he's just using that power and he just used the technique Mugetsu. He thinks he's just bro, he's just a god. He just has all his powers. He's just a god, which is why he says that he thinks it's debatable if he got that power back in True Shikai.
But his Quincy said he was holding Ichigo back the entire fucking series until True Shikai.
He doesn't think it applies to Mugetsu.
Town to confront Aizen, he has gained the ability to sense Aizen's spiritual pressure in his Transcendent state, which is something that Yoruichi, Urahara, and Ishin cannot do. This appears to be a direct result of the Vasto Lorde transformation, which changes Ichigo's mask pattern, and the author Mr. Kubo draws the Shinigami badge being overpowered at the end of each chapter of the battle with Ukiura. The horse has now become the king. From not being able to even pierce Ukiura's spiritual pressure in his...
That is not... How can you not look?
Has now become the king. From not being able to even pierce Ukiura...
Dude, how do you not see his wing right there?
Well, to be fair, it is a bit obscured in the anime, with that particular frame. At a glance, it does look like it's just his raw Ryatsu blocking it. The manga's a lot clearer about that.
Yeah. But the fact that this man's showing the manga scans as well, I'm like, man, you're such an L, Clyde. Hold up, let's get the scanlation. Dang, bro.
Just hops between the anime and manga for whatever he thinks is good look, for whatever would be cooler to look at, you know? Just dialogue, manga text, action, anything related to a fight, anime.
Let's look at that, buddy. Clearly, the wing is bent and right in front of him. Clearly. Like, come on, dog.
Your spiritual pressure in his first force has now
You can actually see it in the next frame.
Even pierce Ukiyora's
Like, you can see
spiritual pressure.
low P, though.
Oh yeah.
This man, bro.
Like, zoom
Let's go.
in, make it even more
Pressure in his
evident, maybe.
first release to being able to sense Transcendent Eisen. Quite the leap in power. Either he has become over 100 times stronger just by being healed, or he now has a higher ceiling of spiritual pressure detection, which I personally believe is more so the case.
What?
I don't know how his spiritual pressure detection, which is a skill, is being improved by him reviving and increasing his power, but those do not correlate. Those do not correlate. That is not. Oh, he's about to talk about the Fullbringer. I think.
Ichigo's best feat in this.
Nope, never mind. Never mind.
Higher ceiling of spiritual pressure. Either he has become over 100 times
Easily handles this exact same manner as he did during the Soul Society arc.
stronger just by being healed, or
So, want to know what's so
really fucking strong?
Let me see if I have the translation already here. But want to know what's crazy, Clyde? Right here, it states that Ichigo. Bro, do I have the translation right here already? Oh, I don't. Sad. I'll show the translation later on in this video. As I'm getting it in the background. But this literally confirms that this nigga got a power in, bro. Like, hold up. You know what, bro? I'm gonna get the translations in real time, dog. Let me get the translation in real time. Because I'm just that insane, bro. I'm just that insane. Boop. It's also in translation what I'm talking about for y'all if you're curious on what I'm referencing. Because it's not showing on the screen because I only have it set to this video. So if you are curious, you can just check the translation. It's a scan of like Ichigo jumping out the Dangai with Unohana. Okay. So I'm gonna post it in verses for us all to read real quick. We'll all read it. We'll all read it. Look at that.
How are you doing this? How are you going against the offer of Bleach, Clyde?
Okay.
Don't you joke about that, Brideful. Don't insult Kubo like that.
Oh, no. I know that was a bad joke, but at the same time, how Clyde frames all his videos is like he's talking like he's the actual author, even though he isn't. As he clearly has no understanding of what he's reading.
So the part that I'm talking about is awakened and with new powers. So it's stated literally that this guy has new powers. He's awakened and he has new powers. New powers. Literally stated. You've referenced this guidebook in other videos, but you don't know what the guidebook states? Come on, dog.
Quite the leap in power. Either he has become over 100 times stronger.
Byakuya became over 100 times stronger. Kenpachi became over 100 times stronger. Literally. they got less damage as well. Ichigo literally died. They got less damage and they got bigger jumps. Byakuya went full power against Zomari. And then, boom, he's now fighting Espada number 0. He went from 8 to 0. Kenpachi went from 5 to 0.
Dude, Ichigo stronger than the Soul Society arc at worst.
Dude. Ichigo went from needing his Hollow Mask to barely push back Ukiora with a Getsuga Tensho to fighting much better with just his Bankai. After one fight, that's over a 10 times amp just from fighting Grimmjow.
What's even more direct about it is that so Ichigo's fighting Grimmjow, right? he uses a Grand Ray Zero, so that makes him put on his mask, right? A Grand Ray Zero is stronger than a Zero Oscurus, which multiplies your power by 10. Okay. The claw attack that he does at the end of his fight with Ichigo is his strongest attack, which makes it stronger than the Grand Ray Zero, which is stronger than the Zero Oscurus, which increases his power by 10. And he beats Grimmjow. Dog.
Just that he breaks it with just Zangetsu. He doesn't even use like Getsuga Tensho to try to overpower it.
Yep.
So like Ichigo just straight up got stronger mid-fight with Grimmjow.
Yep.
When they're previously fighting relative, and I'm pretty sure Grimmjow initially was stronger than Ichigo.
He was stronger than Ichigo.
His Sarah overpowered Ichigo's Getsuga when they fought base to Bankai.
And that man, when they did that clash, that man Ichigo lost. When they were like doing their swords, like when they're just like just fighting just Bankai and Grimmjow in base, just like fighting with their swords. Like before he does the Grand Ray Zero, Ichigo lost the exchange. So yeah, blatantly.
Just by being healed, or he now has a higher ceiling of spiritual pressure detection, which I personally believe is more so the case. Ichigo's best feat in this form is making Gin bleed, and shocking Unohana when they're in the Garganta.
Making Gin bleed? Not nearly splitting Aizen in half? And him stating that he could have killed him? And Ichigo being like, and Aizen being like, yeah, you missed your chance to kill me. And Ichigo being like, I should have used my mask so I could have killed Aizen. Like when I first popped up. But I hesitated.
Crazy how that... Dude, like, even if we took away Ichigo almost splitting Aizen in half, crazy how this feat kind of proves the point that Ichigo did get stronger after fighting Ulquiorra, because Gin is stronger than all the Espada.
Yep.
And Ichigo's not even using his hollow mask in that scan. You can see his face.
You know what I realized? Going by this line of logic, his like, but this is the most impressive feats of Ichigo, means that Ichigo nearly splitting Aizen in half is less impressive than making Gin bleed.
Yep.
He might bring up almost cutting Aizen in half, but like I don't know how well.
We'll see.
I don't know.
But the thing, like the funny thing about Gin, hold on, I'm trying to find that scan, bro. I'm trying to find that scan. I think y'all know the scan I'm talking about, homies. I think y'all know the scan I'm talking about. Come on. Where? How long ago is the scan? How long ago did I drop that scan?
Toshiro, so he's weaker than the Espada.
Bruh, oh my god, it's so much stuff. I don't know when you know what, I'll search again. Uh-huh. There it is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But it's not what I was talking about. What I want to see is your second more powerful sword release. Like, I don't know why Clyde thinks that narratively Aizen, Gin, and Tozen wouldn't know, while being stronger than Ulquiorra as well, that he has a second resurrection when Ibo was able to tell that Ikkaku had a Bankai. He was able to tell Ikkaku had a Bankai, bro.
Who's Ibo?
Imagine thinking that Aizen has less insight on hidden power than fucking Ibo.
Iba's the guy that he's Sajin's lieutenant.
Sajin's lieutenant.
Oh, okay.
That guy that fights the guy that fights Ikkaku in the Soul Society after, like during Ichigo versus Byakuya. Yeah. Literally able to tell that Ikkaku has Bankai, and Ikkaku's like, how do you know that? But even though Aizen, Gin, and Tozen are stronger than him, they can't tell he has a second resurrection. They can't tell that Ulquiorra doesn't look like he did when Aizen first saw him. He doesn't look like how he should with a resurrection. Interesting.
best feat in this form is making Gin bleed, and shocking Unohana when they're in the Garganta. Though I
I don't know what the Unohana thing does, but yeah, you better not be trying to reference no 1,000-year blood war arc stuff. You better not be trying to reference no 1,000-year blood war arc stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Remember the Yami video? He brought up Unohana as being like a hidden god tier character because he thinks she's as strong as she was in the Blood War. That's what he's saying.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't think nobody scales.
wouldn't debate that this
No! Oh my god, immediately.
Ichigo could beat Unohana. Upon further inspection of the manga too, I've noticed that the badge argument is one of the most overhyped aspects of the entire series, with Ginjo placing more emphasis on the fact that Ichigo is being spied on to gauge his reaction, rather than the power nerfing parts being a pivotal point. It seems White was messing with Ichigo's power throughout the entire series more than the badge was, in truth. That's why I believe Ichigo mostly just gained a higher ceiling of power to ascend to, instead of actually somehow going from Bankai to second release Ukiura just from being healed.
Stupid.
What?
But let's read what this says. When you performed Fullbring using your deputy badge, your spiritual pressure flowed out of it. While training for Fullbring, you heard somebody's voices through the deputy badge. Is a communication device, a device to absorb and analyze your spiritual pressure. You were given that to so that Soul Society could control you. There's no way you couldn't be suspicious. You were subconsciously suppressing it. Now let's go with what this scene further says. I'm not gonna look for it in the manga, since I already know I have it in this section within the server. But why don't we just read it out, right? Because this seems to be this man's kryptonite. Reading seems to be Clyde's kryptonite. You just start reading, bro, and Clyde's argument just start falling apart. Start reading a little. I'll add him. There it is. All right. And allow them to control your spiritual pressure right after. While you heard it, at least while you had your combat pass near you. Didn't you ever question? Showing Dangai Ichigo right here about to go into Mugetsu, and then showing him going into Mugetsu. Why your spiritual pressure going into Mugetsu, rage out of control when you were agitated. Let's look at this again. Didn't you ever question why your spiritual pressure, so Dangai Ichigo and Mugetsu, rage out in control when you were agitated, even in Soul Reaper form, never had any effect on you when you were in human form? So his spiritual pressure, Dangai Ichigo and Mugetsu, this reading thing for Clyde seems to be pretty hard, bro. It seems to be pretty hard for Clyde. I don't know.
How
rather
I
than the
can't
power
read, but I can still tell the series better than him.
Yep.
nerfing parts being a pivotal point. It seems White
Imagine
was
being a
messing with
worse
Ichigo's
reader than someone who's literally illiterate.
Prideful, too powerful.
power throughout the entire series more than the badge.
All it takes is
in
paying
truth.
attention, and I can tell Clyde doesn't do that.
That's why I believe Ichigo mostly just gained a higher ceiling of power to ascend to, instead of actually somehow going from Bankai to second release Ukiura just from being healed. I'm actually planning to cover that very specific subject in one of my future Bleach videos, so make sure you subscribe.
Yep.
Way bigger.
So I think we all know by now that the mountain feat is an incredibly funny one whenever people reference it in power scaling content or debates regarding Bleach, as it's obvious Aizen is hyping up that it's cool how he can just casually vaporize mountains with casual swings of his sword and create canyons just from the force behind said swings. But if you do think that the mountain cutting feats and the arguments that some people have towards implying this is sort of like the peak of power in Bleach, if you think that that holds any merit, then you are conceding Grimmjow and the other Espada have more firepower than Aizen in this state, as Grimmjow in his base form almost destroyed Los Noches with a Gran Rey Zero, Ukiura can throw his Lanzada or Lampago, which dwarfs Lost No Chairs easily. It's even drawn that way in the manga. And Aizen in his base / Shikai is stated stronger than all Espada by Gin. And Mr. Kubo even has Gin explain in the manga that, hey, the Espada don't follow Aizen because they fear his Kyokusei Getsu's hypnosis. They follow Aizen because he is just that much stronger than all of them put together. You could say, oh, Clyde, but we're talking about swings, not explosive or projectile abilities here. Alright, that's fair enough, but the point is that Grimmjow almost destroyed Lost No Chairs in base by accident. Keep that in mind. Unless you believe Kenpachi here, in just Shikai, is stronger than this Aizen here, who scales above Yamamoto, then he should also be able to slash meteors this large casually.
He can, but not for that reason.
The better feat that I wish people would use is how when Aizen transforms beyond the chrysalis stage of the Hogyoku, he can wipe the cleaner from existence with a mere glance, which is a being that all Shinigami fear, can knock you through time just by connecting with it physically, and doesn't obey the laws of physics or spiritual pressure, but actually the idea of reason. Aizen casually performs this feat in this form here, however Dangai Ichigo cannot even be sensed at all by the alien-looking transformation of Aizen, which is 2 forms stronger. Aizen also doesn't seem to fear the idea of fighting individuals like Yamamoto anymore like he once did, and boasts again about surpassing all Shinigami. It was even stated that his planning went so far that he had plans to become immortal before fighting Kenpachi too, and kept him trapped in Hueco Mundo alongside Unohana with
Funny he shows Spirits Are Forever with you, but doesn't show the Spirits Are Forever with you scan shitting on Aizen. Showing that he doesn't scale, as well as Mugetsu being used, and it not killing even a dying Sion Grants. That was on his Ukiura wave, but okay. A very interesting use of Spirits Are Forever with you. Very interesting nitpick.
Yami and Ukiura. It was very clear he had prior knowledge of Kenpachi's hidden power, but again, his opinions had clearly changed on these things once he had transformed with the Hogyoku. Yamamoto is also famous amongst the Soul Society for having the most powerful Zanpakuto, so even if Aizen did not know the specifics of Yamamoto's Bankai, Wonder Wise was without a doubt made in advance to make sure that this Zanpakuto would never release its Bankai. It's very clear that Mr. Kubo wanted to really emphasize to us viewers that Yamamoto's Bankai and his Zanpakuto in general is a really big deal. In the Soul Society arc, it's listed as the most destructive Zanpakuto of them all. Aizen does a lot of pre-planning to just specifically avoid his Zanpakuto ever being released, and then one of the first major things to happen in the War arc is Yamamoto releasing his Bankai, which shocks even people at the level of Unohana. Various databooks also infer that what I said about Aizen is true, and there is a famous databook page from Bleach Unmasked, which claims the Mugetsu was the most potent thing in the Bleach universe at that time in the story, and this narratively makes sense when you read pages like this. In the second official Bleach databook known as Masked, this databook states that with the release of the Sokyoku, its power overwhelms everything in existence, and has the power of over 36 million Zanpakuto. Shinji also claims Ichigo's power has gotten so strong after his adventures in the Soul Society arc, his spiritual pressure has the power to echo across the entire planet, and obviously, Dangai Ichigo is far, far, far more powerful than this Ichigo. I usually prefer to stick with just the manga and the supporting data books because they're kind of the most consistent.
This man has the This man has vibes right here. I know you ain't read vibes. I know you ain't read the rebooted Souls. I know you ain't actually translate Hellverse. Stop it. You don't even have
for Bleach, but according to the author Mr. Kubo, he kind of approves of the first Bleach movie, and to my knowledge there is some pretty decent like planetary scaling in that movie, so if you guys want to debate that in the comments, go ahead.
Yikes.
But I'll just mention it so people don't get bothered that I don't mention it. Also, by the way, underrated movie, that's my favorite Bleach movie. The first one is actually written amazingly. In the raw...
I'ma keep it above 50 with you, G. I'ma keep it above 50 with you, G. Movie 4, body bags. I don't care. I know Yang likes movie 1 more. I don't care. You are wrong.
Japanese manga,
I don't care.
Aizen states his Kurohitsugi has the power to bend...
This is just something we'll have to agree to disagree on, Noons.
You're just wrong. It is what it is.
Such as himself. Then atomize Ichigo with it. And
this man really said... This man talked about the Japanese, but didn't talk about it being stated that he's on a higher mathematical dimension. That's crazy. That's crazy.
States his Kurohitsugi has the power to bend time and space when performed by a transcendent being such as himself. Then atomize Ichigo with it. And Dangai Ichigo casually backhands that thing with 0 difficulty, yet a much weaker form of the Kurohitsugi was actually used against Sajin Komamura in the Soul Society arc, and it disabled him in 1 single blow.
Soul Society arc? That's trash! Karya gains infinite power the next arc. He's infinitely weaker. These characters are infinitely weaker than our Ronkar arc characters. And infinite is not It's not an exaggeration. Like when people say like this guy is infinitely weaker than this guy, we're being dead ass though. They're infinitely weaker.
Crazy how Dordoni would be an actual god in this arc. Crazy.
This man will pull up in solo, bro. It's crazy.
I believe Mr. Kubo was attempting to describe some kind of pseudo-black hole science comparison here, but that's really up to how you interpret it as a reader. Regardless, it's a great feat for Ichigo, especially if you want to add any validity to what I said about the black hole. Although not confirmed in any source material or data books to my knowledge, Aizen is showcased using a reforming technique which may actually be instantaneous teleportation. This can be used for long-distance travel, like when he teleported to Gin's location and ripped his arm off, then proceeded to stab him, and is a great feat for Ichigo because he is able to react to and parry blows from Aizen, who teleports behind him. If you think lightspeed feats in Bleach are cool, this is much more impressive. Shinigami of Gin, Ichimaru, and Kaname.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's misinterpreting the teleportation because, like, at least the way it's portrayed in the anime is like Aizen teleports and then attacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
but he is
and,
still
like,
mid swing, like when he teleports. Like
Ichigo, because he is able to react
he
to and
forms
parry
himself
blows from
again.
Aizen, who teleports behind him. If you think lightspeed,
yeah, just not so sure on that feat. You know what I mean?
Like, if it is instantaneous teleportation, like that is a feat, but like I don't think it particularly matters with the things surrounding. Like they have other things that just do the exact same thing in the literal exact same manner. Like I don't. Who cares if it's not? But obviously, Clyde not talking about it, so he hyping it up. He hyping it up, but other characters do it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
From the Soul Society.
Wanna be Dark Rukia. Wanna be Dark Rukia.
The arc are also shown using teleportation Keto very easily, along with time manipulating Ketos and many other types. So this isn't out of Aizen's capability, considering he can easily cast said Ketos without incantation. This kind of works in a similar manner like how in Naruto, high-level shinobi can whip out jutsu without weaving hand signs. A pretty cool fact about Mugetsu is that the blade actually has an invisible chain that extends.
Hey, Clyde, bro, that's nice. Clyde knows this.
Quite far, and this is why during the Ukiura battle, White can summon the blade towards himself when many believe it was just some type of spiritual pressure force type ability, similar to what Jedi's and Star Wars do. As Ichigo becomes
that man just pulled out that chain. That's why that's just the invisible chain. You're just seeing it.
Further fused with his blade, he becomes one with his Zanpakuto, thus making the chain more visible. Along with this, Ichigo appears to have gained sensory perception that far surpasses his original ability to detect soul ribbons from a huge distance. Or as another example, midway through the story, when Ukiura breaks out of the Kaha Nagashon and gets direct orders from Aizen to, take care of Los Noches, Ichigo can instantly sense when he appears from across Los Noches. And to go back to the ribbon detecting feat, well...
Dude.
Then that's not Dangai Ichigo, like, specific. And this shows, like, how is that a better feat? Like,
dude, if anything, the soul ribbons, they feat is better because, like, it's already hard enough to detect, like, the soul of a bird or, like, a small child. And like it's explicitly said, like it's exponentially harder because that child soul is mixed up with the bird.
Yeah.
We got Ukiura here. He's really fucking strong. So being able to sense him would be a lot easier.
Because like, dude, you have to realize something. Like for this soul ribbon feat, because like this soul ribbon feat, like now that I'm thinking about it more, yeah, this feat slaps that freaking Ukiura feat. But like this soul ribbon feat, you have to count in that all of the people are there, they have souls. Like the birds have souls, like the animals have souls. Like so your pets and your animals, they all have souls, right? Like obviously the other beings as well have souls, like insects, because we know that there are insects in the Soul Society, so we know they have souls as well. So we have these insects, we have these animals, we have all these people, and all of them are mixed up. And he detects this small little bird out of all of them. This small little bitty bird.
Not just a bird, he sets the soul of the child that was being hidden by the bird.
Yep. You know what? Average is in Tokyo. I'm gonna just go with Tokyo. Okay. Few million people. Interesting.
Well, this impressed Rukia quite a lot at that time. But now, though, when he steps out of the Dangai
literally, hold on.
feed, well, this impressed Rukia quite a lot at
only a seasoned Soul Reaper could see
that time. But now though, when he steps out of the Dangai with his father, he just stands there, he casually looks around and scans all of Karakura Town, and he can locate his sisters in a mere moment's notice. I also want to make this...
It's the exact same time frame. Like, because Ichigo closes his eyes, or like not, and then looks over, and then sees them. Like, what? And he's looking in that direction. Ichigo at this point, he didn't even know the direction. This is a better feat. Blatantly. It's a better feat.
Also, let's not forget that Karin has some amount of spiritual energy because she's perfectly capable of seeing ghosts.
Yep.
Which
And
would be
Yuzu,
she would be easier to sense than the
and
boy
Yuzu
and the
also,
bird.
and Yuzu also, they both have higher amounts of spiritual energy. Yuzu just doesn't have enough to actually be able to see, but Karin has more than her. So I'm like, bro, how many people like that even are in the city, dog? Like Ichigo's friends that are just like right there, like his brother, his sisters, like
Some
who
of his
else?
random classmates.
Yeah, some of his random classmates. Maybe like
Dude, people with like the
they have
smallest amount of
cousins.
spiritual.
They have other
Dude,
like relatives
people
and
like
cousins, but I don't think they live in Karakura. I think they live like other places.
Like people with the smallest amounts of spiritual energy are like walking beacons for any hollows to sniff out and try to eat. They love souls with spirit energy. Like even if you have the tiniest amount, it makes you a target.
Yeah.
Like remember when Chad had so little Ryatsu that he could like barely see a shimmer of a hollow? Like even when he had that tiny amount, he was a bigger target to the hollows than like anyone else in the area.
Yep.
What's going on?
We're watching Dangai Ichigo is way stronger than you remember by Clyde, and it's god awful.
quite a lot at that time. But now though, when he steps out of the Dangai with his father, he just stands there, he casually looks around and scans all of Karakura Town, and he can locate his sisters in a mere moment's notice. I also want to make this a note in the video, which I also did note in my Mugetsu video, is that Aizen's plan was to chase Tatsuki and all of Ichigo's friends all around Karakura Town until he got bored. Then he was going to slaughter them and hang their bodies all around Karakura Town so that once Ichigo found them, it would develop his powers even more. Can you imagine if that was the first thing Dangai Ichigo seen when he stepped out of the Dangai? To put it into perspective as to how strong Dangai
That's just
Ichigo
a what
really
if, Clyde.
he could casually 1v10 all of the...
They would actually vanish if any of them step too close to a surrounding spiritual pressure too. No, they are not strong. They're not strong enough to do them.
Sparta, and they would never land a single blow. I also
like cool meme, but that's just untrue.
gotta say, I do find it quite funny, very similar to the whole mountain feat being completely blown out of proportion, when people will legitimately misread the manga, and they'll say, oh well, I mean, Ichigo discarded his spiritual pressure for physical strength, when in actuality, Aizen was so confused by the form, because he had no idea that Ichigo had been training in the Dangai, as it was, you know, sort of happening in 3 months, while in real time only minutes were going by, if not maybe a couple hours, that when he finally met Ichigo and he couldn't sense him, his only logical conclusion to rationalize Ichigo flashing towards him, grabbing him by the face and slamming him into the ground was that he surely must have discarded his spiritual pressure for physical strength so he could stop combating Aizen's ridiculous spiritual pressure. That example there, and the 5D example that Aizen states, the fact that Aizen is reacting that heavily to how strong he perceives Dangai Ichigo to be, is way more impressive of a feat to me than, say, Ichigo swinging his sword and wiping away an entire city. While in his Zanpakuto's inner world, Ichigo spends around 3 months inside there, training non-stop, with Keigo even commenting that Ichigo has gotten taller when he returns. This is truly a huge testament to Ishin's power, being able to hold open the Dangai for around this time, and Ichigo also having the stamina to fight in there for this amount of time. This also does correlate to fighting in real time, as many would probably try and dispute. They would say, oh well, in the Zanpakuto world, it acts a little bit different than the real world, but he actually sustains cuts, which appear on the outside, and, Ishin does keep open the Dangai for 3 months in real time, so those two things do correlate with one another. Those two could technically fight.
I don't know who are making these arguments, but this is dumb.
That he has enough stamina all days on and off with no problems.
Who cares?
Psychologically messing with Ichigo since he was younger. He's like full towards Ichigo that he is without his consent. Aizen hints at secrets about Ichigo that he doesn't know anything about, and his only parent almost dies for the sake of his training to save everyone. Even individuals like Urahara, the Vizards, and Unohana are counting on Ichigo to defeat Aizen. Yamamoto is even later so grateful towards Ichigo that he even reinstates
What the
Ichigo's
fuck
powers,
is-
which that in itself is against the
What the
law
fuck are we
of the
talking
Soul
about now?
Society. Think about this to
I
really
don't
put it
I have
into
no
perspective.
idea.
Yamamoto was willing
What
to
is
fight
this
his unborn
narrative?
sons to the death without even hearing them out, just to uphold the laws and justice of said Soul Society. The very boy who fought against the system has garnered the respect of the system. It's sad to say, but many do not pay attention to the nuanced details that the author places into the story, as with
This
each
is the
passing
Bleach
battle,
on the shit.
Ichigo shows that he is developing a level of depression, which has come about since the end of the Soul Society arc, where a boy once filled with hope and determination is now filled with disappointment and a sense of despair, a sense of uncertainty, a sense of uncomfortableness. A lot of this begins when Ichigo becomes doubtful that he can stop White from taking control at any moment, and this is an unfathomable Nichimaru, but a boy who has fast. When Ichigo arrives, he has a sense of maturity and calmness, eager to take care of things, eager to protect his friends. He makes it clear he wants to blood. As Aizen starts to feel Ichigo's presence in battle, Ichigo
Alright, hold
remains
on.
base form, and Aizen got so strong all of a sudden, just hours after Aizen's response to his initial proposal to relocate their bout. Throughout their battle, Aizen is faced with the shocking reality that he has absolutely no idea how Ichigo got so strong all of a sudden. Just hours ago, Ichigo couldn't even compare to his base form, and Aizen even misunderstands what is happening before his very eyes by thinking Ichigo has discarded his spiritual pressure for physical strength. As Aizen starts to feel Ichigo's presence in battle, Ichigo remarks that it's interesting how Aizen tried to move away, as this is something Aizen was mocking Ichigo for earlier. Strike after strike, the battle is going Ichigo's way. In fact, it until of highly
It seems
much with the Hogyoku and being immortal.
So last part of this video just like Clyde explaining the story.
My show and he just like, I don't know, timing. Though I did say this in my Mugetsu video, I just wish he did a single Getsuga Tensho. Can you imagine how big his
Play.
yeah. So ass.
As I'm pretty sure later in the later half he does state that Fullbring is weaker than Dangai.
Hold up.
witnesses before he answered, curious to Although Ichigo
I might
can't
be
stay in
wrong,
his
but
Mugetsu
what
form
if you're
forever,
going to
he
be-
technically could have stayed in his Dangai form. The series would be drastically different if he somehow won without using Mugetsu, because Dangai Ichigo far surpasses the Ichigo that fights Eburn and Wilga. It's very clear that without using Mugetsu, because Dangai Ichigo far surpasses the Ichigo that fights Eburn and
Oops, I said.
it's very
All right, Buckaroo.
Before, but crazy
I'm actually
how
going to.
Dangai is just training for 3 months and then he regains his powers when he completes his full bring.
Man,
Crazy
you
how that works.
know Dangai is fodder.
I'm gonna be making a video, soon. A remake video of Fullbring being above Mugetsu. I might make another video being like Hellverse is above Mugetsu and Raygarrick is above Mugetsu. I don't know if I want to split them up or if I want to just say Fullbring is above Mugetsu in one video, but with
No,
recent information that has come to light, Dangai Ichigo and Mugetsu just fall lower and lower on the power echelon scale. These characters just look worse and worse. During
How massive is
Hellverse,
the gap?
we have our boy Ichigo surpassing Mugetsu. We have even lowballing them surpassing Dangai Ichigo. We have our boys in the Reigai arc being directly stated in Bankai above Mugetsu or equal to Mugetsu at the bare minimum, and his mask being above. We have our boys in the time skip being like, yeah, we're gonna give Ichigo his powers back. Like Kisuke saying, like when he's making the sword 5 months after Ichigo uses Mugetsu, he's like, I feel bad for forcing him to use Mugetsu. I'm trying to get his powers back and give him even more power. Like we need a large amount, and I want to give him even more power. Like that's what's stated in the novel 5 months after Mugetsu. So not only that, right? Well, let's go even further. A year after he uses Mugetsu, we have our boys in Spirits Are Forever with you. We have people like Sion Grant who tanks Mugetsu while dying. We have characters like Azashiro who Literally, it's like I can rip out your nails. I can steal the Hogyoku. I can gouge your eyes out, Aizen. You're trash. We got Kenpachi being so strong. He gets so many buffs in the novel. Azashiro he can't sense him. Azashiro loses to Kenpachi after he makes an attack. He condenses an attack that is more dense than the Sokyoku. The Sokyoku can destroy the Soul Society off the back of a less than a billion Zanpakuto.
Presumably
The
father
Soul
ones, because most characters are father in the universe.
And now let's think about this. So it can destroy the Soul Society, as said by Aizen's letter, as said by the guides, both the anime and the manga, as literally shown to us when we have the Keto Cannon, which is a lesser version of the Sokyoku, destroy an infinite realm. So how big is the Soul Society? It's bigger than the Dangai, which houses an infinite amount of realms, which houses an infinite amount of hyperspaces, which have an infinite amount of layers in them that are a space-time continuum. The Soul Society is bigger than that. And the Sokyoku is so dense. It's so dense that it can destroy the Soul Society. It's that powerful. Off the back of a billion, like less than a billion. Off the back of less than a billion. It can destroy something bigger than an infinite amount of infinite hyperspaces, dog. He makes an attack more dense than that, and Kenpachi beats him. That's a year after Mugetsu, dog. Mugetsu just is not that guy. He's just not. Tsukishima fought Aizen 12 months ago. 17 months ago. By the time of the Lost Agent arc. He's the reason they won. So that Aizen, after he uses Mugetsu, Tsukishima beat him up. He has to. He could have beaten up 4th, 5th, and 6th Fusion Aizen. Because he's the reason they won. These guys just aren't it. They're not strong. Sadly as it is. I know they're cool. But it just doesn't work like that, dog. It just doesn't. They're not strong. I know. He got the swagger. But I'm not gonna hold you.
Did you
When
stop
I
the streamer?
Oh, can you not see it? I just have it right
It's
there.
saying,
The
stream
video's
paused,
basically end.
The stream is saying stream paused or something. I don't know.
We basically finished the video regardless. I'm like, this man just went over narrative and he said Fullbring is weaker. I'm just like, it just doesn't work. These forms just aren't it. Now, with all that I've said just now, remember that the Fullbring arc is even stronger than that because that's 5 months later. And then they have 7 more months to train before the 1,000-year Blood War arc. They have 7 more months. 7. All of that, and they still have 7 more months of training. It's not even the forms are just actually legitimately ass.
Yeah.
Even if we took out the novels to show just how bad the power creep is, again, Fullbring's entire purpose was to restore Ichigo's powers, and if you want to argue on Mugetsu, whatever. At the bare minimum, completed Fullbring Ichigo equal or greater than Dangai.
Yang.
Then he gets his Shinigami powers back, which is exponentially stronger,
Yang. There is no bro, you're going bare minimum. Bro.
Bears the bare minimums here.
After all of that, there is no discussion, dog. Sorry. It's retarded. It's retarded, dude. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't. I don't understand, bro. I don't get it. I really don't. Clyde's supposed to be,
by the way, or
Yeah.